Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and lads, there's always bizarre, just weird signings in the championship every single summer. Just transfers that nobody, not even their players' mothers, would have seen coming. So let's take a look at every championship club and find the weirdest one they've signed this summer. Right, let's go. Barnsley, Aaron Isaka from Toulouse. Barnsley are a team were trying to get promoted to the Premier League, right? Well, what an ambitious signing. Remember Michy Batshuayi? You know, the Belgian striker who English football gave up on very quickly. You know, someone Chelsea thought was about as suited for the Premier League football as a tin of baked beans. Well, Barnsley have signed his brother, 23-year-old Aaron Isaka, a burnt marshmallow of a centre forward. I thought he scored 4 league goals for Toulouse last season. His accuracy is horrific. This man wouldn't be able to lick chewing gum off a shoe without breaking his nose. He's a legit walking pigeon, so why have you signed him? Birmingham, Troy Deeney from Watford. I'm surprised Troy Deeney's ego allowed this move. I know he's a boyhood Birmingham City fan, but he's a guy who's got an ego bigger than a double-decker bus. Even after relegation from the Premier League with Watford, this man was saying that he deserved to stay in the Premier League, that he was outscoring £40 million strikers, and clearly links to Tottenham and Jose Mourinho in the media would have had him drooling like a hungry orc. This is a guy who spent 2 years targeting an England spot in Gareth Southgate's Euro 2020 squad. But no, leaving Watford now at the age of 33, moving to Birmingham on a free transfer. I mean, it's a nice fairy tale story for a guy once rejected by Aston Villa, but I didn't see it coming. Blackburn, Ian Poveda from Leeds. This was a weird one. Ian Poveda is a 21-year-old winger who spent his teenage years being passed about the academies like an unwanted foster child. You know, the one who keeps chucking the family pets in the microwave? Nobody wants to keep him. Good grace, he went through Chelsea, Arsenal, Barcelona, Brentford and Man City, just bouncing around massive clubs with 5-star training facilities. I'm guessing his 2 years at Brentford by comparison probably felt like he was training on a pitch made of toilet paper. The canteen food, in comparison to Arsenal and Chelsea's 5-star gourmet chefs, probably tasted like eating the skin off the underside of a hobbit's foot. But anyway, the guy played 14 times for Leeds last season and looked pretty dangerous. So a low move to Blackburn? I mean, great move for Tony Mowbray. He's a quality replacement for Harvey Elliott, but I just thought Marcelo Bielsa would want to keep the boy. Blackpool, Richard Keogh from Huddersfield. The fact Richard Keogh still has a football career is some sort of a minor miracle. 2 years ago, he was sacked by Derby County with a broken leg. You would think an unfashionable, unemployed Irish sweatbag with the defensive nous of a damn sausage roll, you'd assume he'd have to go and get work in the KFC drive-thru. He had a broken leg and a damaged reputation. He was Conor McGregor without the money. But now he's on to his 3rd club since Derby, now rocking up at Blackpool at 35 years of age. I mean, honestly, fair play. I assume poor old Keogh, a defensive cowpad about as solid as out-of-date buttermilk, I assumed he'd be working in a call centre or at the very least League 2. But no, fair play. Bournemouth, Gareth Hale from Crystal Palace. Jack Wilshere said that Bournemouth were trying to sign younger players now, right? Well, does somebody want to explain why they signed a nearly 36-year-old Gary Cahill on a free from Crystal Palace? To be fair, this was like when Aston Villa signed John Terry. His experience is going to be invaluable. And I actually think Cahill is tailor-made to be the next great English manager, unlike Scott Parker, who honestly looks like if you gave Tim Sherwood a comb. It's a great signing for Bournemouth, but I'd have assumed Cahill would have gone abroad. Honestly, I think he would still do a solid job for someone like Inter Milan. I mean, why not? He's the model professional. I mean, he hasn't touched the carbs since 2003. And lads, he's 6 months younger than Ashley Young. He's the same age as Alexander Kolarov. Sorry, Simone Inzaghi, but you've messed up here. And considering Bournemouth lost 6-0 to Norwich within 4 days of his signing, I'm guessing Cahill immediately felt like chewing off his own foot. Bristol City, Andy King from OH Leuven. So Andy King is back in English football, but good grace, he's still in the Leicester family, isn't he? After 16 years at Leicester City, he then moved to their sister club in Belgium with OH Leuven, and now he's rocked up at Bristol City playing under Nigel Pearson. So he is still in the Leicester family, right? Cardiff, James Collins from Luton. This isn't gonna work, is it? This is fat chunk flop written all over it. James Collins, he was doing just fine at Luton Town. Look at his 24 championship goals in 2 seasons. He's a 30-year-old striker. Please just leave him where he is. But no, he's got himself a big move to Cardiff City. And look at that, 0 goals in his first 7 games. This is like when Cardiff signed Jason Byrne. You know, Robbie Keane's cousin who was a goal-scoring monster in Ireland. But for some reason in South Wales, Mosey stumbled about like a dehydrated snowman. It's gonna be the same here, isn't it? Cardiff ruining yet another Irish striker. Coventry, Bright on a Bakar from East Bengal. I thought England was done with Bright on a Bakar. You know, that 23-year-old Nigerian attacking midfielder who spent 16 years on the books of Wolves. I think Nuno Espirito Santo made it very clear that this fella was about as threatening in front of goal as a deaf panda. He moved to AEK Athens in June 2020, only ever played 14 times for them before being released in October, and he just spent 6 months in India with East Bengal FC, playing under a managerial human milkshake like Robbie Fowler. So now, after having his career and reputation shoot apart like wet spaghetti, being talked about as a Nigerian problem child with disciplinary issues, he's now got himself a return to Coventry in the Championship. It's a weird risk, but honestly, he should kiss his agent in the face. Derby, Phil Jagielka from Sheffield United. There's been some weird signings at Derby County this summer, but the weirdest, Wayne Rooney bringing in Phil Jagielka. You would think, after playing under David Moyes at Old Trafford, Rooney would have been sick to his teeth at the Scottish boss talking about Jagielka on a daily basis as if he was Franco Baresi himself. Good Christ, I'm pretty sure he told Nemanja Vidic to model his game on Jagielka. Is that not some sort of sick joke? But no, Jagielka is 39 years of age. This man should be living in a retirement village playing Pictionary on the porch. Being swept into a championship relegation battle with Derby, this is one transfer too many. You could have just bookended your Everton career with 2 spells at Sheffield United, but no. No, Phil, you were born in the 70s. Just put your feet up. This season is not going to be pretty for that guy. Fulham Harry Wilson from Liverpool. Wasn't Harry Wilson supposed to be the chosen one at Liverpool? Just because he was able to spank in a couple of free kicks? Big deal. The man turns 25 this season. He's halfway to 50, a promising young boy. No, this guy's just a modern day Jason Kumas. The fact he's been at Liverpool since Istanbul 2005. How? He's got the end product of a bathroom sink. But yeah, 12 million move to Fulham. Good championship signing for them. But you know, if they get promoted, Marco Silva, he's gonna need an upgrade. Huddersfield, Daniel Slanani from Norwich. I remember when Norwich first signed Daniel Slanani 2 years ago. This guy was supposed to be the Luxembourg goal machine. Yes, he just scored 30 goals in the Luxembourg leagues. But so what? Why were Norwich fans reacting to this news as if they just chucked in a bid for peak Francesco Totti? Clearly, he's since proven to be about as useful as a buttered toenail. So why have Huddersfield decided to take him on loan? Carlos Corberán, how desperate are you? Hull City, Tom Huddlestone from Derby County. Yeah, Tom Huddlestone is finally back at Hull City, 4 years after dumping them for Boyle Club Derby. Yeah, no, that was a complete waste of time, and now he's back at Hull with his tail firmly stuffed between his legs. I mean, did anyone see this one coming? Luton, Cameron Jerome from MK Dons. Okay, I'll be honest, I did not expect to see Cameron Jerome back in the Championship ever again. This guy had walked out of English football 3 years ago, leaving Derby County for Göztepe in Turkey. I mean, good for him. Clearly he'd grown tired of walking from one relegation battle to the next. Well, last season he wound up at MK Dons in League 1, where you'd assume he'd have stayed until retirement. Look, he's 35, and considering his injury record, he must surely have difficulty even sitting on the toilet. But now he's back in the Championship, replacing James Collins at Luton Town. Good for him, but I cannot but feel that his feet must feel like falling off. Middlesbrough sold Bamba from Cardiff. After the service, Sol Bamba has given Cardiff City as a line at the heart of their defence. The fact he only found out he was leaving the Welsh club on Twitter, it actually sort of leaves a sick taste of vomit in my mouth. In his hour of need, he was dumped, leaving Neil Warnock to pick up the pieces by offering him a gig at Middlesbrough on a free transfer. The guy deserved better than that. Millwall, Shea Ojo from Liverpool. Okay, let's be honest, Liverpool are never going to use Shea Ojo. You know, that 24-year-old winger from Hampstead? Sure, he signed for Liverpool in 2011 and was probably seen as the next Raheem Sterling, but no, he's closer to Jordan Ibe crossed with rotten chunks of pumpkin. So this loan spell to Millwall is his 8th loan move away from Liverpool. The guy's been living out of a suitcase since 2015. Good grace, he's probably lived off room service in 3-star hotels for 8 years. And now, being borrowed to a group of human cannibals like Millwall, a fan base that look like something out of the Hills of Eyes. Oh, it's just unfair on the boy. Christ above. Nottingham Forest, Zande Silva to West Ham. This is a weird one. 3 years ago, Zande Silva was an exciting 21-year-old attacking prospect on the books of West Ham. Good grace, the Portuguese winger scored a 4-minute hat-trick against Tottenham on his Premier League debut for the reserves. That is Sadio Mane levels of brilliance. Hammers fans probably spent that night drooling out of the 4 corners of their mouth. I mean, to be fair, he since had emergency bowel surgery, was loaned to Greece last season, and has now finally been sold on a permanent basis, signing a 2-year deal at Nottingham Forest to replace Sami Amiobi. It's just a bit sad considering that explosive reserve team debut. Peterborough, Kobe J. Chong from Sutton. Here's 20-year-old Malaysian forward Kobe J. Chong arriving from Sutton. This was a former West Brom youth team player who was recently playing for Banbury United, Redditch United and Sutton Coldfield Town. How he's now managed to wade himself onto the books of a championship club with a CV like that? Fair play, I guess. Preston, Josh Murphy from Cardiff. Josh Murphy must feel like stuffing his face in a bowl of dog food. I remember 3 years ago when he was starting week in, week out for Cardiff in the Premier League, while his twin brother Jacob was seen as a big money flop at Newcastle. Oh, people were saying that this guy was the more talented twin, and that maybe he'd be thinking about getting an England call-up, right? Turns out, no, Jacob is actually flourishing in the Premier League with Newcastle still, while Josh can't even get the approval from Mick McCarthy, being loaned out to Preston North End, Christ above. QPR, Andre Gray from Watford. Watford once paid £18 million for Andre Gray and offered him a fat contract worth £80,000 a week. This guy wanted to get himself in the England squad, right? The fact that 4 years later, he's only 30 and has now been forced to play for Jamaica and been loaned to QPR for a season, What happened, Andre? Reading, Danny Drinkwater from Chelsea. There's been some weird Reading signings this summer, like Junior Hoylett, Scott Dan, and Baba Rahman, but I just think it's weird they've bothered to give Danny Drinkwater a contract. This is a guy who has chewed his lifelines to bits. He's on a fat £100,000 a week Chelsea contract, and money just seems to have ruined his motivation. He's already failed on loan at Burnley, Aston Villa, and Kasim Pasa in Turkey. So what do Reading really think he's going to do for them? Sheffield United, Robin Olsen from Roma. I'm sorry, but this is just bizarre. I know Sheffield United needed a goalie to replace Aaron Ramsdale after he moved to Arsenal, but I'm just surprised they were able to convince a Swedish #1 to move to Bramall Lane on loan. This is a 31-year-old shot stopper on the books of Roma who was playing some Premier League games for Everton last season. I thought it would have been more likely for Carlo Ancelotti to sign him on loan for Real Madrid to make him sit on the bench in Spain for a year rather than agreeing to play behind a College Pie defence at the foot of the Championship table. Hey, I just did not see it coming. Stoke, Ben Wilmot from Watford. Wasn't Ben Wilmot supposed to be the next big Watford thing? You know, a defender who's playing Serie A football on loan at Udinese. He was involved in a promotion push on loan at Swansea, so it does seem a bit weird that after 3 years, Watford have officially given up on him, dumping him to Stoke on a permanent deal. While they offer contracts to an over-the-hill Danny Rose. Just doesn't make sense. Swansea, Michael Obafemi from Southampton. Great, Southampton selling Michael Obafemi, one of the only few Irish shining lights, with Swansea snapping him up for £2 million. But if this raw, unproven child is supposed to be the replacement for Andre Ayew, then Swansea fans are very quickly going to start throwing egg sandwiches at the owner's car. West Brom, Jason Malumbi from Brighton. Please, just please play Jason Malumbi every week. Please, give him a chance to flourish. We just drew at home to Azerbaijan. We've lost at home to Luxembourg. I can't be forced to depend on an egg sandwich like Jeff Hendrick in midfield every week. Please, just allow Malumbi a chance to become a good championship level midfielder. That's all I ask. Just give him games. Please. Oh God, I hope he succeeds at West Brom. I really do. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you think. Alright, what was the weirdest championship signing? Let me know in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.